This was the biggest crisis Komi had ever felt. To her surprise, the rival turned out to be a boy. She watched as he personally fed the male lead his lunchbox, and the sight made Komi completely lose her composure. This boy was Katabami. In the first episode, he had mistakenly believed that he and Komi had become friends. He even regarded Komi as a master of communication, his mentor in the art of social interaction, something he struggled with deeply. Today, Katabami wanted to prove to Komi how much he had improved, so he invited the male lead to have lunch together. But as soon as he approached him, he completely forgot the lines he had prepared. Noticing Komi watching him, Katabami grew terrified. Fortunately, the male lead understood his intention just by seeing the lunchbox in his hand. While everyone around them was shocked, only the male lead truly understood him. Just as Katabami was losing hope, the male lead appeared like a warm spring breeze, saving the moment. The two made their way to the cafeteria together. Katabami looked utterly blissful. He couldn't believe he was having lunch with a friend. It felt like a dream come true. He was convinced Komi had somehow helped him. At that moment, he noticed Komi had followed them. In reality, Komi was deeply worried about the male lead and had come to check on him, but Katabami assumed she was there to supervise him. So, he started making conversation with the male lead, asking about his hobbies and other topics. Though the exchange was awkward, he managed to keep the conversation going. Confident, Katabami glanced at Komi for approval, only to see her looking serious and tense. What he didn't realize was that Komi was simply unable to process what was happening before her eyes. She felt that things couldn't go on like this. Suddenly, Katabami came up with an idea. He decided to hand-feed the male lead. Though startled, the male lead still opened his mouth and accepted the food. What should I do now? Komi wondered, growing more confused by the second. Katabami looked toward Komi again, and in that moment, he had an epiphany. Seeing Komi clinging nervously to a pillar, he instantly understood. He moved closer to the male lead, sitting right beside him and wrapping his arms around him. This is embarrassing, but it'll deepen our bond, he thought. However, the male lead looked completely surprised, leaving Katabami suddenly at a loss. Witnessing the scene, Komi thought Katabami was blackmailing the male lead. She wanted to intervene but was too frozen with fear to move. Just as the tension peaked, the male lead, who seemed to read minds, spoke up gently. When you're with me, you don't have to overthink it. Just act like you normally would. Is my home about to be stolen? Fortunately, the grumbling of her stomach caught the male lead's attention. He invited Komi to join them for lunch. Despite the earlier awkwardness, Komi agreed. What followed was a silent battle of nervous heartbeats between the two. Just as the male lead was about to reveal that they both suffered from communication disorders, Najimi suddenly appeared and stopped him. It's more fun if you don't say it, Najimi whispered with a sly smile. That evening, Komi heard the familiar sound of a sweet potato vendor outside. Her father noticed her restless excitement and without a word, handed her some money. The vendor, seeing a figure approaching in his rearview mirror, slammed on the brakes in alarm. But Komi, hindered by her communication disorder, couldn't bring herself to speak. When the vendor asked if she wanted to buy anything, she instinctively shook her head. As the vendor began to drive away, she chased after him almost like a game of red light, green light. Luckily, the experienced vendor understood her intention. Komi used hand gestures to buy 5 sweet potatoes. From start to finish, not a single word was exchanged. Holding the warm sweet potatoes, Komi hummed joyfully, her heart full.